Welcome to a non-canon, hastily put together session for us to test the warfare system from MCDM's Kingdoms and Warfare, because it seemed a lot of fun and easy to set up in a VTT. In this case, we're using Roll20. Um, if all you want to do is check out an example of a battle, we'll try and put a timestamp either in the description or, if we forget, which is likely, in a comment. So you can just scroll down and click it and skip straight to the battle. For an explanation of the rules, you really should watch Matt's video where he explains the rules, but I'll go over them quickly. I've only run a couple of fights myself. Oh yeah, we'll put the link to Matt's video as well. I've run a couple of fights against myself, and then I was lucky that this morning one of the Discord mods for MCDM was running fights for anyone who was interested. So Dig, thank you very much. The orc army that I was a part of was obliterated by your dwarven forces, but it was still fun, which is good for the DM, because if losing is still fun, that's usually what you're going to be doing. So this is the basic map on which warfare takes place. There's already some units that I've set there. There's 4 basic types of units. Infantry, pretty standard, walking around hitting things. And artillery, which for the lowest level of unit that we're using, are tier 1, are archers or crossbow wielding units. And there's cavalry, which tend to be mounted on horses or wolves or giant goats or elk. And the last unit is aerial units, which there are none involved because they are too high tier and not involved in this this scenario. So infantry, which are these kinds of units, we'll hopefully zoom in on them a little bit. They move around on the battlefield, and they attack units in front, behind, or side to side, so units that are adjacent to them. The way that attacking works in this system, you roll a d20 and add the attack bonus against the defense of the unit. If that hits, you deal 1 point of damage, 1 casualty. In this case, all of these units have up to 6 casualties that they can take before they are broken. And if you hit with that attack, that means that your weapons hit the other unit, but there's a chance that it was a particularly powerful hit, which you do with the power test. So you roll another d20, add the power bonus against the unit's toughness. If you equal or succeed the toughness, you get to do additional damage, which is what's in this little explosion burst symbol on the bottom left of the unit. And then there are 2 more attributes that units have, which are morale bonuses and command bonuses, which are used for things other than attacks, for doing special maneuvers, to try to resist battle magic, or if a unit goes down to half its casualties, which is being diminished, is what it's called in the system, you are forced to make a morale test or take even more casualties, as basically the downward spiral of seeing, brothers in arms, sisters in arms die around you forces people to start fleeing from the unit. And there's also a space here about traits, which are usually given by ancestry. In this case, we're using humans who are adaptable, which gives them advantage on morale and command checks, which is really useful and is also fairly easy to implement and easy to remember. Artillery can attack anyone on the field of battle, including cavalry, but they have much lower defense and toughness, So you want to protect them, use them generally to take out enemy cavalry, and then use them to take out enemy artillery. And if the enemy infantry arrives and starts attacking them, you're going to have a bad day. So basically, you want to protect your artillery and use them to kill enemy units. Cavalry don't go on the map because they are so fast that they can get to wherever they need to be every time that they move. They can attack any unit that is exposed. A unit is exposed when there are no other units between them and the outside of the map. So, for instance, any units that are placed on the rear ranks are exposed. Units that are on the sides of the vanguard. So, for instance, this human infantry unit here, there's no unit in between it and the edge of the map, so that's exposed. And that doesn't count for the reserve and center ranks. As long as you have a rear, meaning you have units there, the sides of the reserve and the center aren't available for cavalry to come in. So basically, you want to have units in the rear to protect your units in the center. There's also some rules about where the units can be deployed. Only infantry can go in the vanguard, and they'll be the ones who will be immediately in contact with the enemy army that's up above. Artillery can only be placed along the center. And cavalry don't go on the grid, basically. So you can place infantry in the vanguard, on the reserve, and along the rear to protect your artillery, and artillery can go in the center.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, for a better explanation, go watch Matt's video.
This is what not to do in our video. So yeah.
So do you guys want to go choose from your available units, or do you want some lore babble as to what this alternate universe version of the Reavers of Harkenwold adventure has been so far?
I like the lore babble.
Wonderful.
I love your lore babble.
Oh, okay. That sounds dirty. Please don't.
I'm I'm sorry.
When you say it like your lore babble, sounds like ooh.
Yeah. In an alternate universe where this book came out in 2017, and when we started our game in 2019, we had it available, and therefore I planned for the adventure to include everything. The heroes arrived from Falkrist to find that the Valley of Harkenwold was under control of the horrible human mercenary band of the Iron Circle. You met in Albridge with the leaders of the fledgling resistance, who were trying to muster enough troops and weapons to take a stand and force the invaders out. And as you did in the real world, well, as you did in the real
fictional world,
in the canon version of our game, you went to Torshold, a small village of less than 100 inhabitants, set up in a large walled ring, with a proud tradition of strength in combat, since they were founded by a powerful adventuring hero about 3-4 generations ago. So they are the source of the strongest fighters available for the resistance, but they are currently tied up by the bullywugs in the Toadwallow Caverns, which you, the heroes, went on to go and defeat. You leveled up to level 4 after nearly suffering a TPK, but this time because you had a larger complement of heroes, you did okay. You came back with some loot and magical items. And the people of Torshold began to get ready for battle. and you guys went on to continue adventuring. Maybe you went to East Hill to see some more information about some hill dwarf clans that are in the Briar Hills. Maybe you headed directly into the Harken Forest to entreat with the elves. When you heard that the Iron Circle had decided to make an example of the people of Tor's Hold, and had notified their goblin allies in the Harken Forest to basically raid it and loot everything there and make sure that they could no longer be a potential problem for the Iron Circle. So you rushed back to Tor's Hold, and you had some choices to make as to where you were going to search for allies. So we're going to go now to the unit menu.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can muster a few units from Tor's Hold. It's mostly humans and dwarves. So you can muster human infantry or human artillery, or dwarf artillery or dwarf infantry. You could, if you wanted, like send a message to the small city of Falkrist to ask for some human cavalry. You could go to East Hill to get some dwarf cavalry. Or you could send messages to the elves to get some elven units to help you. You could do all three. You would just then have fewer units from Tor's Hold directly. So each of you will get to pick 2 units. You can double up. You can get 2 of the same unit if you want to. And we'll just narrate. If you decide to get 2 elven units, then you were particularly successful in convincing the elves to come help you.
A question.
Sure.
I don't know if you already explained this, but it is implied that our characters are in this group, like leading? Or
yes, we are not
just
using the rules for giving the martial advantages that your classes would give you. So, for instance, Siege as a barbarian, you would leading light infantry, you would give them some additional powers.
Okay.
But we will leave the implementation of that to a future
Okay.
to a future test.
So we
now,
are there.
we're just going to be using the basic units. So in the fiction, yes, Maravilla, Siege, Johan, Keldav, and Ghufran are all involved in setting up the defenses of Tor's Hold. Yeah. One thing that I didn't explain. There are these levies, which are very bad infantry because they are not fighters. They are the peasants who live there, who are being forced to fight because otherwise they'll die. So if you decide to take,
you are a volunteer. Go ahead.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Now go.
What are dwarf miners?
Yeah.
Miners. I don't.
Yep.
How do
Miners.
you say it?
Yeah.
Miners.
Miners.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's the same idea of the
they're levies.
Infantry. Infantry also.
And they're bad infantry. They are.
I can tell.
Like they were working in the mine, but because the goblins are coming to destroy Tor's Hold, you know, they're going to fight with basically their same pickaxes and tools that they were using in the mine that they're now going to be using against the goblins. But they're not as good as actual dwarf infantry, which you will notice have a higher attack bonus, higher defense, and have higher morale and command.
Basically, the forced voluntary soldier.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I thought that there was some, to make some tunnels below earth to.
You guys are going to have fortifications because the scenario that we're playing is you're defending a town. You're going to have a three squares in the center are going to have the town walls fortification, which give you a bonus to your defense, your toughness, and your morale. Does it do the toughness? Let me check the handout. Basic fortifications. on walls. +2 to morale, +2 to defense, +2 to power for your artillery. So if you have archers or crossbowmen inside the town walls, they're up on raised platforms, being able to fire over the walls. They get a bonus to their power. So if they hit, they are more likely to do more damage because they're up on the walls. So,
this sounds very interesting. I hope to
I
understand when we
pictured
play.
I picture 2 movies like Lord of the Rings with Helm's what's the name in English?
What?
Helm's Deep, yeah.
Yes. And what's the other one? I forgot. Braveheart.
I mean,
pictured the
yeah. Hopefully things for you go more. I mean, they're both pretty bad in the sense that the Helm's Deep defenders took some severe casualties before reinforcements arrived to save them. And Braveheart, well, I mean, we know what happened to that commander.
Well,
So-
whatever happens, this is non-canon. We already defend this town, so
Yes.
Yeah,
it's okay.
we
Next
won.
time.
Yes.
We won.
In the canon version, the people of Torshold were very happy with you and they did great stuff.
Yeah.
They consider you great heroes. So, Siege, pick a unit.
Let's
And
start.
don't worry, we'll do the quick
Any
test.
So
Yeah,
any unit.
Any one unit. You'll be able to get 2, but pick one and then everybody else will pick one, and then once you've seen
I
what the
like
other
it.
people picked, you pick your second.
Like
Da-
a card game.
Dwarf infantry.
Dwarf infantry. Wonderful. So you guys have one of these.
No.
Maravilla
What?
can also use dwarf infantry. You can double up. Okay, so
Yes.
I'll take that as Maravilla is also taking some dwarf infantry. That's 2 of those.
Yes, of
Johan.
course. I'm more in.
Elven archers.
Wonderful. Some elven archers. Siege, what's your second unit?
Human cavalry.
Very well. A messenger set off by horse to Falkrist and made it back with some elite guards who came mounted. Wonderful. So, Maravilla, what's your second unit?
Wait, what did
human
Johan pick?
Human cavalry.
Johan picked elf archery.
Yep. So
Okay,
right now
so
you
we
have 2
one
infantry, 1 cavalry, 1 artillery.
I don't know.
I mean, I would recommend
going-
picking something different than what you already picked, just so you have some variety. But
Yes, I was
having-
going to pick like. Yes. Go ahead.
having 2 infantry could still be, because you get to move them around. There's more like tactics in like trying to sandwich enemies. But dwarf artillery are awesome. They have crossbows. They have special abilities when firing their crossbows at close range.
I'm going to pick that the dwarf artillery.
And Johan, your
So,
unit?
tell me, what do the elf artisans do?
You can't
They-
pick those. They are elf levies. So they're, poor elves who are used to carefully decorating their wooden homes and
Okay.
painting frescoes and such. So if you were defending an elf fortification or, camp,
Yeah.
then you would have those levies available to you.
Oh, of course.
I
So
tried to gray them out to...
they send their best, I guess. So, what do we have? We have cavalry, we have
You have
infantry.
2 infantry, 2 artillery, and 1 cavalry.
Let's do elven cavalry.
Wonderful. So a squadron of elves mounted on elk come riding, and they're doubled up with an archer on the back of the elk. And when they arrive at Torshold, they dismount and are led within. So first, let me mark the wooden town. Okay, I think you guys, of these units, you just kept the human cavalry, which is good. Human cavalry is pretty nice. Let's pick a brown for the wooden walls. So those are the town walls in the center. I hope you guys can see them well. So there's the human cavalry. Let me...
Do anyone see anything?
Have I not?
No, I'm just seeing the rainbow
The board.
color.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
setting up the units that you guys can
Oh, okay.
get to control on the side. So there's human cavalry, elf cavalry. We got some elf archers.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing.
We've got some dwarf infantry. There's 2 of those. And then there's also dwarf artillery.
So you told me that the reach of the
Artillery?
yes is not different between, I don't know, crossbow and longbow.
Correct.
Guys, they have the same reach. Okay.
Missing elven archers. That's what I'm missing. No, wait, there they are. Human cavalry, elf cavalry. That's it. 6 units. Okay. And now we roll initiative using your character's stats, and we'll give you those. So
Okay.
this dwarf infantry is going to be controlled by Maravilla. This dwarf infantry is going to be controlled by Siege.
Let me open D&D Beyond.
Me
that
too.
is sponsoring this video.
No. We don't have sponsors
But
yet.
we could. So reach out to us. We have like 3 viewers, 2 viewers. Like,
But they
And
enjoy it.
only one of those is us.
No.
you don't have to say that. They don't know.
I will say I do find the YouTube videos to be helpful going back to, particularly
Yeah.
when you guys go back to NPCs and I have to figure out, wait, who said what was? What did that NPC sound like? How much gold did you get in this dungeon?
No.
So my characters.
Yep, I
Johan
found
Lewis.
it. Ooh, I'm going to use my physical dice again.
The idea is that your characters are level 4, level 5 in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oi.
I think you do have your ability score improvement if you took it. I think the one thing that you wouldn't have is
The
Siege has
latest-
advantage
Yeah.
on initiative because he's now level 7. He
Mhm.
doesn't have that in this version of the...
True.
I haven't leveled to. Oh, no. Yeah, I did. So, here's my initiative.
Mhm.
Okay. That's 16 plus 9.
Whoa.
25.
Right, you have alert, right?
Yeah.
So 25, and it's for the elves, which is delightful. So 25 for the elf archers and 25 for your elven cavalry.
They are fast.
Yep.
Yep.
That's my role in roll 20.
Oh, your roll is not showing. Let me see.
To me, it shows that it's
a
6.
6.
No,
Well,
I
6.
Yeah.
I
So one set of...
mean
dwarf
it didn't
infantry?
show. It didn't show in the roll check. Okay.
So it's this dwarf infantry. That's the one that's controlled by Maravilla. So that one has an initiative of 6.
Here I come.
How much?
I roll a 3.
A 3. You have a bonus, right?
Yeah,
You've got
3. So 6.
6. Okay, that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
the elves are almost 20 points ahead of all of you, so probably it's going to go elves, then the bad guys, then then the dwarves and humans. But that's, that has its own advantages.
Meanwhile, Siege is like, you go there. You go there. You, who are you?
You look alike.
That's kind of racist.
I mean,
Siege, the racist Warforged. Okay. So,
Okay, so now we start the deployment, and it goes in reverse order. Siege, you have a +3 bonus to your dexterity. Maravilla has a 2, so in theory she loses.
Yeah. She go first.
Yeah. So because you guys chose to get some elven units, I will tell you that they know that the goblins have cavalry. They have units of warg riders.
oh, cool.
So you guys have that
That knowledge.
intel, meaning that if you leave your rear exposed, their warg riders will be able to like attack your artillery.
so we can.
If we leave the rear.
Yeah, because your artillery has to go in the center.
Okay. Okay.
And
okay,
by the
okay.
way, if you guys want to leave the fortification, you can just leave it as part of your movement. A unit has the same actions that a character has in 5th edition. So you have your action and a movement, and if you want to use your action to move, you can move twice, so 2 squares. And there are also some maneuvers that you can attempt with command checks that allow you to move more. So there's a withdraw maneuver that allows you to move back 2. And there's if you're an infantry and an enemy infantry moves away from you, instead of there being like an opportunity attack, there's a follow-up maneuver where you can try and move to chase them. If you succeed on the command check. But those will come up in battle, and I'll try to remind you guys.
The only guys that can defend the rear are infantry, or can it be?
It has to be infantry. Yes.
Okay, so we have to pick one infantry to. One dwarf infantry. I'm going to take the rear. Mara's going to.
Okay. Can you move this
If you want that
token?
Yeah, it's okay for me.
In one of the 5 squares.
Do we have to put our units in turns?
In the square? Yeah.
No, but in order, or we just
from lowest initiative to highest. So
yeah.
the person with the highest initiative will get to see where the other units are before they place them.
So you can react from the others.
Yes. And now place your dwarf artillery somewhere in the center. And remember that these 3 squares have.
Okay.
You've got a bonus from the fortifications.
Here.
Sure. Okay. So now Siege, place your dwarven infantry, and
the infantry must be in the vanguard.
No. It can be in the reserve. Now here's the thing.
We don't have.
This is going to happen a lot because we have few units in this battle. I was hoping to have more players, and maybe when the whole group can play, we can play with 10 units per side.
Okay.
When there are no units in a rank, that rank collapses, which means that the battle shrinks. So instead of taking 2 squares of movement to go from the center to the vanguard, if there's nobody in the reserve and the reserve rank collapses, it will only take you 1 square of movement to go from center to vanguard.
Gotcha. Then I'm going to be the first line of attack and defense.
Yep.
And you...
And in the center.
the-
And the cavalry, if I don't remember, you don't put it, right?
Yeah.
Correct. The cavalry stays off to the side.
Uh-huh. That's it, I think.
And so now you get to see where all of the enemy units get placed, because they all got intermediate rolls. So here comes the enemy army. Cha-cha-cha-cha.
Oh,
Too much. This one's not here. That one over there in the corner, that was for when we had more players. So the dwarves and the humans nervously get into position, check their weapons, make sure that things are straps are tightened, that their weapons are loose in scabbards. And then you see as by the way, each of these units at this scale represents maybe a dozen creatures. That's one of the good things about this system. It's abstract enough that it can be thousands of creatures on each side of the fight, or it can be a much smaller battle. So like I said, Torshold has less than 100 people, which means that there's maybe 24 fighters from Torshold here, and you guys brought maybe 30 people in reinforcements from the rest of the Valley of Harkenwold. So you see what would be a very small army, basically a large gang, but very disciplined hobgoblins in their armor moving in front. And then there's some packs of goblins that are somewhere else. And you see loping along with their army, there's packs of wargs with tiny goblin creatures riding above them. And now the elven artillery arrives in tremendous reinforcements as elks come thundering in, and we're going to switch the music to something a little less peaceful as
There
we
was
prepare
music?
for battle. Yes, there is music on Roll20. It's from Tabletop Audio. I've used them throughout the whole time. So, Johan, set your...
I'm gonna put them right here.
Makes sense.
Oh, I had Roll20 mute. Oops.
Muted?
Oops.
That's okay.
Yeah, now I'm...
Okay, hold on. 16. Okay.
For our 2 viewers, I'm sorry I didn't figure out that we had no music.
Okay. And if we were using the domain rules, there would have been an opposed operations test to see if one of you managed to surprise the other army or not. We'll say you guys did pretty well and you were not surprised, which means the enemy infantry doesn't get to attack you first. They don't get sort of the equivalent of a surprise round. So now the battle begins. Welcome people who skipped to this timestamp. We begin with Johan, your elven units.
Okay,
You can choose which you activate at whichever time, but once you activate them, you have to do their full turn. So you can't attack with one, then attack with your, like, you can't attack with your cavalry, then attack with your archers, then move your archers, and then do something else with your cavalry.
So just one for turn. So if I get it correctly, the cavalry can be anywhere, right?
Yes, they are riding around the outside, and the elks are fast enough that they can get around. They can hit any of the goblin warg riders, or they can hit their units that are exposed. Their units that are exposed are the goblin mid shields in the rear, and both of these hobgoblin infantry in the vanguard. Their center and reserve are protected at the moment.
Okay, I'm going to hit the rear with my elven cavalry.
Wonderful.
Do I move it?
If you want to.
Yeah, action.
To feel cool. So go ahead and make an attack test.
I roll a d20, I guess.
D20 and add the bonus, which is +4 for your elven cavalry.
That's 12 plus 4, 16.
16. The elk plow through the goblin meat shields that were barely holding puny spears. They're sent flying. So that's one casualty already because you succeeded in the attack test. Go ahead and make your power test to see just how brutal this charge is.
So that's
D20 plus 3, which is the power of the elf cavalry.
Okay, that's 4 plus 3, 7.
7
Okay.
is not enough. The toughness
Yeah.
of the goblins are 11. Now, I do want to check something because your units are mobile. Never mind. That doesn't apply. So in the handouts, you guys should have available to see several things. One of them is called unit traits, which has what adaptable does, what mobile, what eternal does.
Oh, okay.
But I'll also try to remind you. So then your cavalry turn and keep riding, and they go back to the side. And now your archers can go.
I do my archers anyway. So
Yes.
they can shoot anywhere on this. Yeah,
Any unit.
those fucking goblins, they're gonna die. It's a game. Fire! I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
Fire!
So attack test +4.
Fuck them up! Yeah. Commander.
And if your attack hits, because you're atop the town walls, you have a bonus to your power.
Yeah, okay. 14 plus...
Yep.
4,
A
18.
volley of arrows comes crashing down above them.
And this is for my power.
Wait. Before your power happens, because they got down to half their health, they had 4 casualties available, they're down to 2. They now have to make a morale test to avoid taking another casualty as they panic and flee. So they're going to roll a morale test difficulty of 13, and their bonus is -3. So
I like this. This is fun.
as the elven arrows rain among the goblins, they panic and are sent scattering. You see a handful of them run back into the forest. Some plunge into the river and swim away. And now go ahead with the power test with a +2 bonus because you're on fortifications.
16 plus 2.
Yep. The unerring accuracy of your elven archers find the few goblins that had managed to stick around, and they are fully dead, which means that there is nobody protecting the rear anymore of the enemy army.
So their center is exposed.
Yep, their center is exposed.
For our cavalry.
So yes, the elves did really well, and now it is the turn of the goblins and the hobgoblins. So, seeing what just happened, and also in the lore there is enmity between these goblins and the elves. The goblin warg riders, these ones up here, are going to swing around and attack your elven cavalry. So that's a d20 +3, as these warg riders attempt to bite at your elk. 11, which just misses the defense of 12, as the elk are swift enough and manage to dance out of the way and avoid serious damage. So those are the warg riders. We have Goblin Meat Shield number 2. Are they the surviving ones? Yes! Goblin Meat Shield number 2. They have a smart commander that is going to try and protect the archers. So they use their action and their move to get to the center. It's not going to be enough, but so the archers are still exposed, but in the future they'll be able to take protection from the meat shields. So, the other goblin warg riders. They're going to attack the cavalry. Your elves.
Oh.
And that does hit with a 15. They start biting at the elk. Some of the goblins move out of the saddle and begin slashing with their short swords. So you take 1 casualty because the attack test succeeded. So from 6, you're down to 5 for that. And now the goblin warg riders attempt their power test at +2 against your toughness. That's a 15 plus 2, 17.
My elves!
And cavalry hits hard.
Yeah.
So as elks begin to fall and tumble, some of the elves atop them, centuries of potential lives are lost as goblin weapons pierce their sides. You take 2 casualties from that power test. You are down to 3.
Okay.
You have been diminished. You hit your halfway point. Because this is the first time that happened, you need to make a morale test. Difficulty of 13. You have a bonus of +2 because you are defending a fortification. So normal elf cavalry have a +0 morale bonus. In this case, you guys are
does
defending.
Nothing right here, I guess. This unit has advantage on moral test against undead and fiends. And morale test.
Yes, but because you are defending a fortification, you get a morale bonus of +2.
Okay.
So whatever you rolled, +2.
11 plus 2.
Is
Okay.
exactly 13. The elves manage to rally. The panicking elks are placed under control, and you don't lose more of your warriors. Wonderful. The hobgoblin archers. The hobgoblin archers are pretty smart. They're going to bet that they can kill this lone dwarf infantry that's up front and have the hobgoblin infantry push through and start attacking the artillery there directly. So instead of continuing to attack the cavalry, they're going to try and start whittling down your vanguard to try and get to the artillery. So the hobgoblin archers are going to make an attack. They lift their longbows and let arrows fly. They're pretty good. They got a +4 to their attack, but the dwarf infantry lift up their shields and the arrows thud against them because with a total of 11, they don't hit the 12.
Oh.
Just barely. These well-crafted dwarven shields manage to block the rain of arrows. But the hobgoblin archers...
And the dwarfs turn around and lift their skirts and show their butts.
Wonderful.
This is Braveheart.
Yeah. The hobgoblin archers move up 1 so that now they are protected by the goblin meat shields once more. They are serving their namesake well. And that's the end of their turn. And now it's the hobgoblin infantry. So this hobgoblin infantry is going to move in to there and is going to attack your dwarf infantry.
Okay.
They hit with +4 to the attack.
Oh.
14. Just it hits.
Yeah.
As the shields were up, they are left unprotected as the spears of the hobgoblins bite into the lightly armored soldiers of Tor's Hold. So you take 1 casualty. You're down to 5 with those dwarf infantry. And now the hobgoblins attempt their power test to see just how lethal that assault was. 7 plus 2 is 9, so it wasn't so bad. And I do want to check my traits because Warbread does allow me to do a cool thing, but only when they succeed on the power test. So the cool thing that hobgoblins can do didn't happen. But maybe it'll happen now as the other hobgoblin infantry
Oh, come
moves
on!
and attacks this dwarven infantry. These hobgoblins are ruthless and they intend to win. with a +4 to whoa!
Oh,
Wow,
shit.
that was a natural 20. Now there are no rules for a critical hit in the system, and because we are just starting, I am not going to house rule anything in. But that is probably the first thing that I'm going to try to house rule if it doesn't seem imbalanced. So that succeeds. They attempt their power test.
Wait, why I was reduced to 4?
24 because they rolled a natural 20 on the 20 and they have a +4 to their attack.
To reduce my 42 from 6 to 4?
The first infantry succeeded in their attack test,
Gotcha.
but not on their power test. So they only dealt 1 casualty.
Okay.
The second infantry just succeeded on their attack test. So that's another casualty. They just succeeded on their power test, which means you drop to 3.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to make a morale test. You have a +2 bonus because you're defending fortification.
Gotcha.
So because these are the people of Tor's Hold, they're fighting for their town. Your D20 +2, you want the 13 or higher?
1d20 +2?
Yep.
6.
Ooh, that's not good. So you are now down to 2 hit points. And the hobgoblins, they are warbred. They succeeded on their power test, which means that now they can attempt. If they're going to make a command check, and if they succeed, they get to attack again.
Hold on, I have.
They are bred for war.
Hold on, I have stalwart. That works on their turn too.
Yes, in their power test, they have disadvantage.
Yes. So if they hit anything that hits you, no, any infantry or cavalry that hit you would have disadvantage on power tests. It's not certain that these hobgoblins will get to use their next attack, because they have a +1 bonus and they need a 10 or higher.
Question:
With a 3, they fail.
Do the hobgoblins' warbred ability has a limit? Like
it's a reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. So they do it once, and that means they don't have reactions available for follow up or brace for charge when they get attacked by cavalry, that sort of thing. Okay, so that was the hobgoblins, and now it's back to the block of your units. Time to take some revenge.
Yeah.
Siege. You can activate either your dwarven infantry or your human cavalry first. Up to you.
I think that I need to. Yeah, I'm going to use my dwarf infantry and attack this unit here.
Go ahead.
So that's a d20.
+3.
+3. 18.
That hits.
Yeah.
The dwarves bloodied from the ganging up.
Take them out!
Yeah, axes start chopping down hobgoblin knees. So now go ahead and do your power test.
Then the power test is +2, right? Or +4?
Correct.
2.
+2. And you're trying to hit 12.
Oh, fuck it. 7.
That's okay. They took tremendous losses. Like, of the maybe 15 dwarves that were in that unit, there's maybe like 6 remaining. And the others, like some of them are wounded and bleeding on the ground, and they could recover with medical aid. Okay, so that's your dwarf infantry. You can move if you want to.
Do I get attack opportunity if I move?
What they get is a follow-up, which is not an attack. It lets them move. So the infantry above you already used their reaction for Warbred. This one could follow you. So if you move away, they could move into that space. Now, here is one thing that I will tell you. You want that hobgoblin infantry to stay there, because these dwarf artillery have the close range trait, which means if they are attacking a unit that is adjacent to them, they have advantage on the attack and power tests.
Gotcha. So
yeah, for the survival of the dwarf infantry, yes, running away would be better.
Yeah.
But if they stay there, their fellow Taurus holders with their crossbows will have a better chance.
Hold the line!
Wonderful.
Great.
And now it is your human cavalry. Your human cavalry, you have available to you the goblin meat shields, or either of the hobgoblin infantry, or the warg riders. Like, the warg riders are still untouched, and we've seen that they do a lot of damage.
And the goblins riders are damaged, right?
No, their riders are at a full health of 4. If your human cavalry manages to hit a goblin warg rider unit, they may die just from that attack. Like, 1 casualty from your attack test, 2 casualties from the power test. If they fail their morale test, that's 4 casualties, they're gone.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So. +3, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
22!
Excellent. Okay.
Great.
As the human cavalry tries to react, rides to the rescue of the elves, crash into the wargs, send them tumbling, spears stab into the goblins. Try the power test now. +3 as well.
+3. 11.
11. It hits.
What?
The goblins are lifted off. Several of them are sent flying. That deals 2 casualties. They are reduced to 1. There's only 2 goblins on wargs still trying to ride. They're trying to corral the other wargs to follow them. They attempt their morale with a -1 because they're goblins, and they fail. As the wargs that still had goblins start rearing, and they turn around, they bite the legs of the goblins and eat their riders, and the wargs scatter into the wilderness.
Nice.
And that unit of goblin warg riders is no more. Excellent.
1 for 1.
Yeah, very good.
So-
Maravilla, it is now your dwarven artillery.
Okay. So
Before
now
they
I'm
even finished
considered.
loading their crossbows, everything went to shit, and now there's a hobgoblin unit right in front of them.
So Maravilla is going to scream, "Cowards die many times before their death. The valiants never taste their death before, but once." I'm sorry, I read it wrong. And so I know my dwarf artillery is going to shoot the hobgoblins, and it's a +3.
Yeah. Because the reserve rank is collapsed, those hobgoblins are
Holy.
adjacent, which means your close range gives you advantage.
So I roll
So,
again.
yeah, that hits, and you don't have to roll again because there's no
Okay.
crit. So you hit, your crossbows fire, they slam into the hobgoblin infantry, they take 1 casualty. Let's see just how brutal this volley attack was.
So I roll
Power
now
test?
power.
You have a
Yeah.
+2 bonus from your fortification. So
Okay.
it's roll d20 +4
4.
because you're firing from above the town walls.
Okay. So
Nice!
19.
They're diminished as you see a full rank of the hobgoblins collapse from the weight of the... It's almost like a battering ram just hit the tight formation of the hobgoblins, and they attempt to recover. They're going to do a morale test. These are not goblins. They get a positive bonus of +1. They need a 13. They just managed to rearrange into a smaller, tighter square, so they don't take an additional point of damage. Now you have your dwarf infantry.
So what can I do with my dwarf infantry? Because I can't. I can only move 1 square, right?
You can
And
move
then
1
attack.
square, and then you can use your action to move again.
So
Now,
that's it. But if I
You
move
could, if you
forward,
wanted, move 1 to the center, and then because the reserve is collapsed, move to the vanguard and end up there.
Hmm.
That
but
will
I'm going to
leave
leave-
your rear exposed, which means that
yes.
the warg riders that are still alive would be able to attack your
No.
artillery.
So I'm going. So I'm going to move here. I
Mhm.
remain there.
Okay.
I'm going to remain there.
Hmm.
we get to the beginning of the round. Any ranks that have nobody in there are collapsed, which means basically their rear. What?
And only cavalry can attack. I'm going to ask something.
Sure.
If my what is it now? What is the
Say
If
it in
the
Spanish.
Warp Riders attack your dwarf infantry that is in the rear, you can use a reaction to try to attack them back. It's
no,
not.
I'm asking my artillery, crossbow darts.
Yeah.
Can they attack the cavalry? Or
On their
they
turn,
can't
yes,
because
they can attack the Warg Riders.
yeah. So I'm okay. Okay, that's it. Great.
Okay. So the Elf Cavalry, it's up to you. Your turn. Actually, you can use your cavalry or your archers, Johan.
Okay. So my cavalry is like diminished.
Yes.
Does that affect my
No.
like attack power something?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep attacking the rear, the new rear. My elven cavalry is gonna charge in their elks.
Wonderful.
Get right there against these mofos. Okay, that's a 1, so it's not happening.
Yeah.
Oh.
The meat shields like dive onto the ground, and they're so small they get mistaken for bushes, and the elks naturally just weave around them, and the elves try to swing down and slash at them with swords, but they're so low to the ground that they miss. And at the other end of the charge, all of the goblins pop their heads up, look around, realize they're not wounded, and stand
Okay.
back up and try to look
So-
menacing.
So my elven archers now are going to shoot
Mm-hmm.
their hobgoblin infantry that has broken into our lines.
Sure.
So with an order, here we go. That's a little bit better. 14,
Hits.
10,
Their defense
10
is
plus
12.
4. Okay,
They take-
so
One casualty. They're at 2.
and
Make a power
here's
test.
my. This is 10 plus 2 plus 2.
Correct. 14 succeeds.
Okay,
As-
so
Yeah, as the hobgoblins had collapsed into a smaller diamond formation to protect themselves from the crossbows, the keen archers of the elves managed to find just open areas in between the shields and the helmets, and the hobgoblins continue to die to the arrows despite their best attempts at forming a little wall. They're down to a single casualty. Yeah, so unfortunately, now they get to go all in a block.
This is
So
bad.
first, the remaining Warg Riders. What are the remaining Warg Riders going to do?
This is bad.
They're going to try to take out the Elf Cavalry. They're going to attack
Oh no.
with +3.
my elves, leave them alone.
16. That's a hit. So you're down to 2 casualties, and now they attempt their power test at +2. And if this succeeds, I'm afraid your elves are broken.
Yeah.
18.
No.
As the elves were trying to reorganize themselves, the wargs leap out of nowhere, crash into them. You hear the screams of pain. Elves lose control of their mounts, and they sprint off. So not all of them died. After the battle, there is a chance that you will be able to reform the unit, and some of them will be able to come back. But yeah, you got that.
We can
That's not
bring
good.
them back. Some
Yeah.
magic, maybe.
But I think that's your first loss of a unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the Goblin Meat Shields, they're gonna do their job and stay there. The hobgoblin archers. Just going to move one there.
Oh no.
And who are they going to shoot? They're going to shoot the dwarf infantry that is in the
Oh no.
front lines. Their only hope is to get both of their infantry in there to start attacking the archers and try and whittle them down. So arrows, and they again 11 of the 12 that they needed. The dwarven shields are still up. Now they look more like they were, targets at bow practice. They are riddled with arrows, all of them, but the hobgoblin archers have failed. And now it's the infantry. And first infantry number 1, they're going to attack the dwarf artillery right in front of them. And that is a +4. Your defense is increased because you're in the fortification. So instead of your defense being 10, it is 14. No, 12. Yes.
40?
No, I was reading the wrong fortification. 11. Again, if you didn't have the walls, you see as these hobgoblins launch their javelins up over the walls, and they collapse just under and hit the strong wooden palisades, or they fly over the heads and just clatter uselessly into the ground inside Torshold. But your dwarven artillery is unharmed, and yeah, they're not gonna. Those hobgoblins are not gonna move. Hobgoblin infantry number 2, which is totally healthy, is going to attempt to kill these pesky dwarves in front of them.
Oh no.
22.
They
that's a hit
have disadvantage.
on the power test. Yes. So the attack test hits and deals 1 casualty, and now they have disadvantage, which I don't remember how to do in Roll20, so we're going to have to do the old-fashioned way of just rolling twice. That's a 10.
10.
Fail.
10.
Yeah, as they manage to wound many of the dwarves. Now there's basically like 3 dwarves. Probably they've been friends. They've been fighting for a while. They're all back to back, trying to protect the wounded that are clawing their way back towards the walls of their home. But they're still standing, which is pretty remarkable. And they don't get to use their Warbred awesome ability because they keep missing. Human cavalry.
Sish is thinking, that's why I don't give orders. Human cavalry.
Human cavalry, actually, or your dwarven infantry. Up to you.
No, I'm going to the human cavalry. Get the works.
Yeah.
So I'm attacking the other cavalry.
Makes sense.
So it's 1d20 plus 3, right?
Yep.
Let's go. 11.
Is just their defense. They are very lightly armored. They rely on trying to be agile atop the wargs, but the warg itself is a big target as the horses manage to crash into them, spears stab into the sides. Go ahead and make your power test.
Power test. 11 again?
Which is enough. That's 3 casualties that they took from that. They have to do their morale test to see if they manage to stick around.
And they have a -1?
Correct. Goblins really need a stern commander keeping them in line. And that is a 10. Once again, the human cavalry manages to completely obliterate a squadron of warg riders as they scatter and run back through their own lines and into the darkness. Congratulations, human cavalry. Now it's for the completely different experience. It's the dwarf infantry.
Before next siege movement or action, archers can move not in diagonal.
No, they can also only move sideways.
And they also
sideways or up and down.
But they can attack wherever they want.
Correct.
Yeah, and an infantry can move also forward and
And to
side,
the side, yeah.
but they can attack.
Only
But
what's
they
adjacent
can
to them.
attack. Okay.
So
Okay.
I can attack what is in front of me or in the side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In infantry.
Infantry.
In archers, you can attack wherever you want.
Yeah. So that's your dwarf infantry
Correct.
barely hanging on, but there's a group of hobgoblins right next to them that is also barely hanging on.
Yeah, I'm going to the hobgoblins infantry.
Go
So
ahead.
that's D20 plus 3, right?
Yep.
No.
No.
It's difficult. Yeah. There's just not enough dwarves. They throw some hand axes to try and hit the hobgoblins, but they're so focused on trying to stay alive that they bounce off the scale armor that the hobgoblins are wearing. You can move away if you want.
But they will follow me. If they follow
Yeah.
me, the archer can attack them.
The archers can always attack them on their turn. The archers don't get a reaction to attack them. There's no attack of opportunity.
The only thing that
But-
that I think I can do is only move here.
Sure. Do you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. This hobgoblin infantry is going to attempt to follow up. So it's going to try and get into the space that you just vacated. They have to do a command test that's in the handout called Maneuvers. Follow up. As a reaction to an opposed unit adjacent, breaking or moving out of its space, make a DC 8 command test. So their command is
DC
+1.
DC 8.
DC
Oh,
8. So
Really low.
yeah.
They got a
Come.
16 +1, and they move into position. Okay. So that was the turn of your infantry.
Yeah, but I have
Now,
only one infantry attack next to me, not two.
Mara, it's your dwarf units, your artillery or your infantry.
So if my crossbow guys move here,
Mm-hmm.
do they keep this advantage because of close range?
No, but what you can do is you can attack and then move out of the way.
Move.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm going to attack these guys, the hobgoblins, first.
good idea.
One.
Come on, Mara.
1d20 plus 3.
Nice!
Wonderful.
Nice!
Yeah. So your crossbowmen load, and this time they fire straight through the hobgoblin shields and armor. The expertly forged bolt heads piercing through the inferior craftwork of the hobgoblins. And that hobgoblin infantry is dead. You don't even need to try the power test. The attack is enough to obliterate them.
Great. So now I move. Aha. Aha.
That's my
Let's move.
friend.
Here. I'm on.
Sure. Yeah.
Holy shit!
Here.
Normally,
And my-
that would be, extremely foolish, but Dwarven artillery are particularly good at melee range.
At the
Yes.
infinity.
And you guys have the numbers advantage, so sure.
So and then my infantry is going to move. Is going to use their movement and action to move here because they're trying to get close to these guys, to the hobgoblin infantry.
Yeah.
And that's my action. That's all I can do.
Wonderful. The elven cavalry, unfortunately, is gone. So, Johan, you have your elven archers available.
Okay. I'm going to shoot to the Oh, there is no more cavalry. I'm going to shoot to the hobgoblin archers. Fuck them. Or maybe. Oh no, maybe. No. 8.
8
No.
total.
Yeah.
Misses.
I don't get a bonus to.
You get a
My
+4
attacks?
to attack, but not the fortification doesn't make you more accurate. No.
Okay, that's all for me.
Do you want to move? Because right now those hobgoblin infantry can attack you. They are
Yeah.
adjacent to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna fall back.
Move!
You can
Yeah.
move here also.
Oh,
I mean, that is still part of the
yes.
fortification.
Yeah, here is a
And
good
they,
idea.
can they attack me?
Not from where they are. They would have to try and move into the
Move.
fortification, which
Okay.
costs them extra movement.
Yeah.
So
And
they
then
would
I'm
have to
going
use their move and their action to get into the fortification, and they wouldn't have an action left to attack you.
Okay.
Goblin meat shields. There's still cavalry on the field, so they're still gonna stay there. I'm gonna move there just in case. Hobgoblin archers. They're gonna try and kill the dwarf infantry
Oh no!
because things are. They need to. There's a limit to how many units you have. Like if you have half the amount of units that the enemy does, you lose automatically. And if you guys kill one more unit, like for instance the meat shields, they would wind up with 2 units to your guys' 5. That's under half, and they automatically lose. So they have to kill some of your units to not lose right away. So hobgoblins,
No.
they attempt their final assault, and unfortunately, with
No.
an 18 total,
No!
the stalwart shields finally break, overwhelmed by the volley fire of the hobgoblins, and those dwarves collapse to the ground. Hopefully to be tended to by clerics and, Johan after the fight. And the archers are going to move away because... I forgot. I always forget at the beginning of a round to collapse the ranks. So the enemy vanguard collapsed because there was nobody there. Which means that those dwarf artillery were in close range of the hobgoblin archers, which is why they're moving. And that rank is collapsed. And you see as the battlefield begins to shrink as fights continue. And no, you guys had... No, you had no units in your rear because they had no cavalry anymore to threaten you. So your rear also collapses. That's the rule that by far I forget the most. I'll probably create an initiative token that is only like check ranks. And that always goes on initiative 35 or something that I remember. Okay, so those were the hobgoblin archers. Hobgoblin infantry number 2, the only ones that are alive. I mean, they were trying to kill your artillery, and there's one right next to them. So they're going to attack that artillery right next to them. And that is a 19 plus 4, 23. That's a hit. They're going to attempt their power test.
No.
But that is a natural 1. So even though the hobgoblins slam into the dwarf crossbow units, they literally turned and used the butt of the crossbows to like slam them back, and they managed to have it be only glancing injuries. And
They scream at
hobgoblin
them,
infantry number 2.
Righteous slurs. You have to be born again, laddie, to destroy us.
Okay, human cavalry. So far, you've been running this. Your available targets are the meat shields and the hobgoblin infantry.
Get that meat shield!
Be chill. Meat shield.
22.
That hits. Go ahead. That's one casualty. Go ahead and do your power test.
The power
You're
test
trying to beat a
is
toughness of 11. You have a
plus
+3.
3 again.
12. They are down to one casualty as the horses just plow through. They tried to hide again like they did from the elk, and the horses just trample them. And only like 3 goblins lift their heads up, realize they're the only ones alive, and they're going to attempt a morale check at a -3 because these are not just goblins, they're goblin levies.
Yes.
And they still succeeded.
Oh!
They're
Oh,
about to turn
come
tail
on.
and run, and the hobgoblin archers turn and point at them, and they freeze in place, and they're stuck, and they don't break. But still, the human cavalry did amazing. Any further attack will destroy those meat shields.
Mm-hmm.
Your dwarven artillery. You have hobgoblin infantry right next to you, or you could just march up right next to their hobgoblin archers and fire at them point blank. Maravilla, what do your... Oh, you also have some infantry, by the way.
So,
like, you can choose which ones you use.
First, I'm going to my
Both your units.
infantry here and attack these guys.
Wonderful.
Buena. Nice.
Make the attack test.
And it's a 1d20 plus
3.
3.
That's the attack bonus of the dwarf infantry. 11. Unfortunately, is not enough. Axes and throwing hammers come flying from the walls and bounce against the helmets and shields of the hobgoblin infantry, but they were not made to be armor-piercing hand axes and hammers, so unfortunately they don't inflict wounds.
So since my infantry failed, I'm going my artillery crossbow darts that one are going to attack the same. Do they still have +2 because of the
No, they are no
No.
longer in the fortification. So
Okay.
the power test is at just +2, not +4.
No.
Wait,
I
you're
hate
firing
game.
you're firing at the
I
hobgoblin
lost
infantry?
range. Yes.
Yeah, you have advantage.
Come on, guys.
Come on, come on, come on.
12.
12!
12 just hits. So you see as like they lever the crossbows directly at the hobgoblins. Like hobgoblins go like, they just put their shields up, and the dwarves laugh, and they fire straight through the shields into the arms and torsos of the hobgoblins behind the shields. And that hits. That does 1 casualty. Go ahead and do your power test.
So it's a
It's a +2, right?
Yeah, and you're trying to beat a 12.
1d20 plus 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you fired straight through their shields. You hurt them, but it wasn't as deadly as if you had managed to hit unprotected flesh. Still, impressive.
Okay.
You still have movement if you want.
No, I'm going to remain.
Okay.
No, I'm going to remain there.
Okay. Now a new round started. I'm going to check the ranks. They're all okay. Okay. Elven archers. Johan.
Okay.
Come on, Elver archers.
Come on, come on.
Oh, we are just. How are the hobgoblin archers looking?
They haven't been touched. They have always had meat shields to protect them.
Yeah, and the infantry.
They've only taken 1 casualty from the crossbows right in front of them.
Okay, I'm going to try to hit the infantry.
I will say this, before you tell me what the result was. If you kill the goblin meat shields, they are down to 2 units, and you have 4, which means they hit half your units, and they automatically lose.
Okay, let's go for the mid shields because I rolled a 16.
16 hits. The elven arrows, like you see as the few hobgoblins are pointing their bows at the meat shields not to move, and suddenly the goblins that were standing there are riddled with arrows, and the hobgoblins look at each other to see who fired, and they realize it came all the way from the walls of the village. As those goblins are dead,
They
and
had
that
one.
means Yeah, they had 1 hit point left, 1 casualty left. And now the hobgoblins wound up at having half your amount of points, which are the amount of units you have at the moment. And that means they automatically lose, and they now have to try and escape. Just to see if they are successful.
Attack of opportunity.
Defeat. Oh wait, no, it's at the end of each round of battle. So at the end of this round, if you guys still have 4 units available, they have to retreat.
Okay.
So basically, they have to kill one of your units,
To maintain.
which is technically possible. If they manage to use,
Yes.
if both of them manage to use their warband, they might be able to kill your dwarven artillery. So, hobgoblin archers are going to fire at your dwarven artillery.
And
4, 8. They miss.
8. Oh.
Yeah. The arrows fly harmlessly past the dwarves. Maybe if they had been humans or elves and were standing taller, some of the arrows would have hit. As it is, the dwarves are unharmed by the hobgoblin attack. I think that means regardless what happens, you guys are going to win at the end of this round, but let's play it out.
Still the
Yeah.
mid shield? No, the infantry.
No, that's it. They only have 2 units, and they're not going to be able to kill you guys, but they're going to try. So the hobgoblin infantry is going to attack the dwarf artillery in front of them. Natural 20, which if there were rules for
No.
that might do something really cool. So that's 1 casualty. You're down to 4 for those dwarf artillery. They attempt their power test at +2. 14. Yeah, their spears bite deep. You are down to 3 casualties. I need you to make a morale test. You have a +2 bonus because you're defending your fortification. So instead of being the +0 that dwarves normally are, it's +2. So D20 +2, you're trying to hit a 13.
That's me?
Yes. You're this dwarf
I
artillery.
thought
sorry,
that was
Maravilla.
Teach.
no, it was you. Mine was it.
1d20
Yeah.
plus?
2
1d20
have a-
plus what? 2.
+2 for your fortification morale bonus.
11.
11 is not enough as the hobgoblins crash into the dwarves, and as much as they try to set themselves against it, they don't have the heavy armor or the shields of dwarf infantry, and they are pushed through. The hobgoblin infantry is going to try to use their warband reaction. If this works, and they succeed in both the attack and the power test, they may be able to kill the dwarf artillery. Now, you are stalwart, which means even if they succeed on the attack,
Yes.
they'll have disadvantage on the power. So odds are,
Yes.
it's not going to work. But they're going to try. So,
Come
command
on.
test for warband. Come on, yes! These hobgoblins are warband. They succeeded.
But the other roll, there is
No,
the
they haven't
disadvantage.
attacked yet. That was
that's
just them
attack.
trying to reorganize to attack again. So they succeeded on their command test, which means they get to attack. So now it's a D20 plus 4.
They attacking
As
at
they-
disadvantage?
No, the power test will be a disadvantage
Oh, okay.
if they hit. They do hit
No.
with a 23. It's carnage as the armored infantry are now in between the dwarves, stabbing away at them. And now this test is a disadvantage. That was a natural 20.
Okay,
6.
come on.
But with disadvantage,
Arsenal.
the stalwartness of the dwarves, they manage to rally. They start firing crossbows at point blank range, and the hobgoblins are forced to push back before they can finish the dwarves off. And that's the end of the battle. When we get to the end of the round, you guys are going to win. But let's see just how much damage you can deal before that happens. Human cavalry.
Get
That's
the
you.
freaking archers!
Come on, Siege. Come on, Siege.
Wonderful.
It's a
Go ahead
plus.
and make your attack.
It's a +3, right?
Yep. You're trying to beat a 10 or higher.
15.
15. finally bereft of their meat shields. The hobgoblins fear the crash of hooves as the humans break through. Go ahead with the power
Crush
test.
them!
Amazing. They plow through.
Great.
You see half of the hobgoblins get sent flying or are pierced by spears. They are diminished, which means they now have to make a morale test. And with a natural 20, they manage to stay on their feet, but they're at half health. And it is now Mara's turn. You have your dwarf artillery and your dwarf infantry.
We are both going to attack the hobgoblin infantry.
Wonderful.
So first, the dwarf infantry is going to attack with a +3.
Oh!
Again, like they're trying to slay them. Like they're throwing the hobgoblin javelins back at the hobgoblins, but they're not properly weighted for dwarven arms, and they bounce off the hobgoblin shields, unfortunately.
So now the crossbow. 19.
Nice.
Great.
It's
So
they're
now-
at 4 casualties remaining.
That's
And go ahead with the
2.
power test, also at advantage.
Also with advantage. Well, it's a 18. Doesn't matter.
Let's see. Close range. Advantage on attack and power test against adjacent units. Yeah. So
I'm going to roll again. No, 18.
yeah. So the power test also succeeds. They are diminished. As there's only like 4 dwarves with crossbows still standing, but they fire straight at the boots of the hobgoblins in front of them, and they are pinned to the ground, and they try and yank it out, and they collapse to the ground. They're going to do a morale test now as they hit their diminished level. 13, they manage to stay in unit cohesion, but they look around, they realize they're the only thing still standing. All of their goblins, their meat shields, and their warg riders are gone. And there's plenty of dwarves, elves, and humans still very angry here. So the hobgoblins admit defeat. They have half the units that you do. And they retreat.
Woo!
Wait. More than twice the point value. So just twice the point value is not enough. Oh.
No
so
way,
They
so-
are not going to admit defeat.
Wow.
So they still have 1 turn. At least.
Which basically means you guys are going to get a chance to kill them.
These guys are tough.
Yeah.
Come
Your
on,
losses are going to
Johan.
be greater than they already are, but I'm pretty sure you can kill them. Kill them. Break all of them.
Come on.
So elven archers, it's your turn.
Ya va. Okay, elven archers are going to attack to that hobgoblin infantry.
Wonderful.
Maybe not. That's a natural one.
No.
Oh.
I have to put these dice in jail.
In the jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. The elves are now firing. Unfortunately, there's so few hobgoblins left that it's hard to find weak spots available. So yes, unfortunately, the elves fail to find purchase. It's now the hobgoblins' turn. They are going to. The archers are going to. Let's see. The hobgoblin archers are going to fire at the human cavalry.
Oh.
+4. Basically, they're hoping to get their warband attack, and so that's 17.
Yeah, hits.
Arrows find the humans. That's 1 casualty that you've taken. They attempt their power test. Ooh, 18 + 2, that hits.
Oh.
Yeah.
So That's 2 casualties. You have 4 remaining, and now they're going to attempt their Warband ability to get an additional attack. They need a 10 or higher, and they've got +0. So really, just 10 or higher.
Oh,
9. They're not able to.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not able to to knock another arrow in time, and your human cavalry managed to move out of the way, and the second volley of arrows falls harmlessly on the field. The hobgoblin infantry is going to attack the dwarf artillery right in front of them. With a natural 1, like they try to move forward, but their boots had been pierced by crossbow bolts, and they trip and fall, and they don't manage to kill the handful of dwarves still remaining. Are they going to move? Yeah, they're going to move 1. This dwarf infantry has the opportunity to try to follow up. So if you want, you can use your reaction. You need to make a DC 8 command test, and you have +1.
Command +1. Okay. +1.
DC8, but come on. No.
They try to get off the walls and open the gates, but as soon as they start getting the gates open, fallen dwarves that died in the defense crawl into the town, and the infantry stops to like carry the wounded back inside, and the opportunity has passed. But on their turn, they'll be able to move there if they want. So, not so bad. The human cavalry received a volley of arrows, but yeah.
Continue.
It's up to you. Like, if you succeed in your attack and power test at either of these units, they're dead.
I know. Get the freaking archers.
Wonderful.
19.
Yay!
I will have a very good dice, I think. Not.
No!
Did I have to
Thanks,
to
Steve.
say something? No. That's okay.
Just misses. Wait, is it the 19 or the 9?
The 19.
Is it 19?
Oh, 19 hits.
19
So,
hits,
But the
right?
other roll-
You managed to
What's the
hit.
power?
You managed to, they take 1 casualty. But there's
And the power
fewer
was 9.
hobgoblins left, which means they're able to spread out a bit more and try and dodge some of the charging Falkrest guard. And they managed to stay alive despite the best efforts of the cavalry. Still, wait, no, 9 against their toughness hits.
No way?
So-
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
their
it's
toughness is
8! Oh, you're right!
So
No!
as the hobgoblins manage to dodge the initial charge, the Falkrest guard swoop back around and they throw javelins at the hobgoblins, and lacking any shields or heavy armor, these archers are pierced and they all die. Hobgoblins are
We have one I didn't know!
of interest only to historians. Wonderful. Human cavalry is great. They are great.
Yes, they're really good.
They are really, really good.
And now it's Maravilla's turn. Both your dwarves are available. You do have
the
an interesting
dwarves-
choice
the
here.
Get
Yeah.
them, Mara!
So the dwarves say these fucking elves don't send an elf to do a dwarf's job. So the crossbow step, since they have advantage on their roll, and they
Wait.
roll to attack.
Ca-
No, wait.
So
I
you
roll.
can do that, but if you do that, your dwarf infantry will
Okay.
not be able to attack them.
Because it's not adjacent.
They didn't get close.
There's no,
Wait,
they
these
can't get
guys?
to. Your dwarf artillery can hit them from anywhere.
Right.
And if you move them adjacent, they will get advantage. But your dwarf infantry can only hit them from that square. They can't get to any other squares to attack them.
Okay, so I'm going to move my infantry, and I roll a 14 just in my infantry.
Yep, that hits.
Is
As
it?
the infantry finally clear the town
No.
gates of the wounded, and they charge out, this time not bothering to throw axes or hammers, they just bring them directly down onto the heads of the hobgoblins and try as they might to interpose their shields. You deal 1 casualty. Go ahead and do the power test.
15.
And yeah, that hits. You see as the hobgoblin infantry collapses, there's maybe a handful left as the dwarves, so enraged at the suffering that they've seen, just continue to beat on the hobgoblins that are down on the ground. So that has a single casualty left.
Oh.
And you have your artillery
No.
available.
Okay, so now I'm going to.
No.
Natural 20.
Not 20. You won.
Unbelievable. Yeah. The remaining like 3 or 4 dwarven crossbow warriors lift up their crossbows. They yell, "Get down!" And the dwarf infantry that have been just like massacring the hobgoblins hear that. They throw themselves down on the ground, and right over them comes the handful of crossbow bolts that find the remaining hobgoblins who are desperately trying to form a formation where they can protect each other. The bolts pierce through, and the hobgoblins are no more. And you obliterated all of the units. Congratulations. You survived with 4 of your units remaining. We would now move to attempt a rally
We won!
Yay.
maneuver. So congratulations. The Battle of Tor's Hold has been won. The defenders are victorious.
Again.
I think we did
I'm going
better
to-
in the canon version, but
Yeah, a lot bloodier. So, Siege, I want you to make a DC 13 morale test for your broken infantry. You have a +2 bonus because you guys have a fortification. So, D20 +2, you're trying to beat a 13.
No.
Yeah, those dwarf infantry were wounded too greatly. Johan, I want you to make a DC 13 morale test. You also have a +2 for your elven cavalry to see if they manage to regain control of the elk.
17.
Nice.
17, yeah. So you come back with 1 casualty remaining as a handful of elven warriors lead a pack of elk back under control, no longer panicked by the assault of the wargs. So you guys lost a single unit for real. Like, if this was to continue to move to
Mhm.
yes, the dwarf infantry that died was fully broken and disbanded. They didn't continue, but all of these units become now veterans, which means their stats improve, and you guys would have the opportunity to spend some of your gold and get equipment for them, probably by looting all of those dead hobgoblins to improve their equipment, which would also raise their stats.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of these units you guys would be able to carry on over to the hypothetical battle for Albridge when the Iron Circle marched from Harken. That's Albridge. From Harken down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the Iron Circle marched with their, as far as you guys know, all human army, you guys would be able to have these veteran units plus more units that you gathered from around the Valley of Harkenwold to do that fight. This went really well, in my opinion. What did you guys think?
Yeah.
It was fun.
I would like more variety on units, and I would like to see how the class abilities works.
Yeah.
So we can get some more back and forth and variety. But yeah, at least the base of it is pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can do the next test with class abilities. Maybe I'll see if Elena and Diego can play like during the week, and I can run something like this for them, so that they get familiar with the basic units as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
And
maybe we can
then-
use this for an actual battle in the campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, right now, there's no, you guys, if you are any organization, I'm going to change the music because we are no longer in awesome
Yeah.
combat. We are now back to the peaceful country village of Harkenwold. As the sounds of pained, injured dwarves and elves are, the medicine is applied to them, prayers and miracles are performed.
This is
Yeah,
the-
in
this
the
is- this is-
canon
this is the-
universe.
This is the day when Johan said to Sid that he will die tomorrow.
Hmm.
Yeah. So in the canon adventure that we're running,
Is it-
you guys are,
I
if
think
any organization. Sorry, what?
No, I think the same as Alejandro said, that it would be interesting to see the class features on, and I
Yeah,
also agree with to have more variety on the options to pick.
Yeah,
agree with
it's
But
almost
it was
midnight.
really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have the handouts ready for your class
Yeah.
abilities, your martial advantages. But I'll send this to you separately, so you guys can look them over.
Got it.
You were saying something about the
Yes, in the
organization.
canon adventure. Your current group of heroes, if they are part of any organization, you would be disorganized misfits, not really inclined to have a standing army. But we could do something like this again, where technically the army doesn't belong to you. Like there are forces in the larger, the Nenter Vale, for instance, which is the setting in which we're running the adventure. There are a few towns, there are a few enemy forces that you guys might come in to engage. So I might, aside from the couple of adventures that I have seeds planned for downtime, I might try and see if I can twist some of those into actual battles. And that might be very cool to actually get to use this. And also you guys are, level 7.
Yeah.
So
I
some
want-
cool powers, and we would get to do the other side of this system, where while your armies are fighting the battle, your characters are fighting the bosses of the enemy army.
Ooh.
In this case, you guys would have been fighting like a hobgoblin warlord with like a goblin scout on top of a warg, maybe like a spellcaster of some kind on their side. You guys would have been handling that fight while this battle was going on.
In that
In
case,
the Battle of Albridge, you guys would have been fighting Redthorn and his lieutenants.
yeah.
Nice.
While
In-
that battle was happening.
That scenario is to use like the organization skills
Yeah.
and
So-
the power dice.
Correct. So if we had been running this, either I would have made it from the very beginning that you guys were part of an organization. Maybe you guys were sort of a mercenary company that someone from Harkenwold had hired to come in and free them from the Iron Circle. Or maybe you were like a guild of heroes or something a bit more meta like that would have decided to come in. But you guys would have been your organization against the Iron Circle. A lot of the espionage and intelligence gathering that your rogue mastermind we did by skill challenges would have been using this system, making espionage tests to try to discern what the enemy resources was and how to disrupt them. So yeah. and then based on how the intrigue happened between your organization and the Iron Circle, you guys would have gotten bonuses to the fight. You guys might have had the initiative. Like, you could have decided, hey, instead of fortifying Ulbridge and fighting here, we could decide to go attack them at Harken, where they have their Iron Keep, but we would get advantage. So you guys would get one round where all your units in your vanguard get to attack before the battle starts for real.
And also, a lot of battles are not like equal in forces, in numbers. But maybe we can try something like that, but with our strategy and, I don't know, morale and whatever, we can...
I have terrain ideas for how I would have done the Battle of Albridge. Because if you remember, you guys were defending 3 sort of entrances to the town.
Yeah.
With the possibility of, if you had to retreat, you could have retreated to a single bridge over the river. That would have been like a single point.
I remember that for that battle we did actually a lot of preparation. Like we knew that the enemy had drakes, and they love to charge into battle. So we did some pit traps to halt their charges. So yeah, I mean, it has a lot of potential.
That kind of thing in the warfare system, I would have had you guys like probably. Hold on, let me delete those things. Probably would have been something like this area is blocked off by forest, and this is one axis, and then you guys tell me like, this is one of the ways that they're going to be coming through. Where are you going to place the pit traps? And you told me we're going to put them here. And when an enemy unit went into that square, they would have had to make probably a power test, or maybe a command test, or suffer casualties and be stuck. Like there are rules for traps, which I haven't read because I wasn't planning on using. And there are also rules for like having forest areas, having swamp areas.
It's very complex.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like there are rules
that's
for
really
like
great.
setting up this area as a fortification, there would be rules sort of like these 2 columns nobody can move through because it's heavy, thick forest. And if you guys remember, you had some elven druids that did some extra druidy magic there to make them even more impassable. So it would have been something like your elven units can move through the forest fine and attack from the forest, probably with advantage. But their units, if they try to go into the forest, they have to probably do like a power test or take damage, and it's difficult terrain kind of a thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of design space, and that's before we even get to battle magic. Like, Johan could set up like magic traps. You guys also had like a storm cleric on your side for that fight.
All right.
Can I ask? Just for fancies. Zombie armies.
There are, so in the basic book, there are 6 ancestries that are included. Humans, elves, dwarves, orcs, goblins, and undead.
Oh, nice. Just leave me there.
Halflings. No halflings.
No, halflings were not considered sufficiently warlike as a culture to have their own set of rules.
Thank you.
Make a special halfling unit.
You haven't met my family.
We can workshop that. I mean,
the Briamontes would definitely be their own special unit with amazing abilities.
And
there is.
And Warforged, they're not.
I feel discriminated.
I'm getting some Warhammer vibes from this. There is some kind of a special squadron or lieutenant that you can deploy into the battlefield, so they can, I don't know, do something.
There are no rules for that officially. The things that your commanders give you are the martial advantages that we didn't use. So, for instance, the fighter has it so that let me read it. Hold on. So they have heavy training, which means that they're medium heavy and super heavy infantry units inflict 1 additional casualty when they have a successful power test. So if a fighter is controlling these infantry units, they hit harder. That's the bonus. They also have a martial rally ability, where if they have a unit that is broken, they can make a morale test, and on the success, they gain 1d4 casualties and return to the battlefield. So like the fighter can grab a bunch of like wounded and terrified soldiers and say, like, get back on your feet, like pick up that standard, we're marching back into battle. But I will say, like, the idea of being able to, this is a group of dwarf infantry, I am going to take this one Warforged character and put him in here, or one sneaky rogue assassin and put it in there. The community has come up with rules for attachments to units that give them like special traits or modify their stats a little bit, kind of a thing.
I mean, lately I've been having like a Warhammer 40k fever, to say the least. So yeah, listen to this system is like, we can do stuff with this.
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount of design space.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
So
there are
very
each
fun.
unit has enough attributes, and the traits are like broad enough that you can do just a lot on the unit, and then you can do a ton with the map, like giving them different properties.
But
Things like that. So,
imagine Johan prepared a group of guys with bombs,
yep,
for example.
Like
And
Dwarven.
then
Dwarven
Grenadiers.
mines. Yeah, Dwarven Grenadiers. Absolutely.
Maybe we can workshop on some rules,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
like one of the units that Johan controls, like once per battle, they get to do a special attack that they don't even need to roll. Like they just throw it and the bombs explode, because it doesn't matter if the unit tries to block it with the shield, it's gonna blow up anyway.
Sounds-
And
Johan-
maybe they're incendiary bombs and they light the ground on fire, and now any unit that's there or passes through there gets set on fire. Like
Johan, do units do boom.
I already did something pretty fun, actually. I already told you.
Yeah, I know.
If I remember correctly, you are just one day in your.
In the downtime, right?
Because, I shared that.
Maybe
what
like
was-
two.
I was-
you guys are like
Writing.
3 days now. Like I'm counting, I have to write the scenes, but you guys did enough sort of in character chatter, moving up from the Druid's Grove
Yeah.
along the road. Like you guys
3
are
days.
already like camping in the forest, about to reach Folkrest. The next
That
day.
was one day or
We can talk about this later.
Yeah.
When we are in, we
Yeah.
got the
With everybody,
transmission.
yes.
Yeah, but for the 2 or 3 people that will watch this video, we're talking about the downtime of this campaign.
Yeah.
We are chatting in Discord right now,
yeah.
Yeah.
just to give
So-
context to the public.
So we can. I think that's it.
Yeah.
For everyone
Yeah.
that watches, the 4 of you. I
Now it's 4.
who you are. So
Yeah.
Now it's
I got you.
4.
Now
Well,
it's
one
4.
person came here to learn how to do the warfare system.
yeah,
Yeah,
and left because it said
Wha-
like
because we are so boring.
yeah. I mean, so no cuts whatsoever, no funny music. So yeah, we left.
Now,
But for the 5
Well-
of you, thanks for watching.
yes.
We are not sponsored.
Yet.
We are just having fun.
Yeah.
And See
Hopefully
you
in
next
2
time.
weeks. Yeah. Hopefully in 2
Yeah.
weeks, Elena and Diego can join us.
And we can return to our
Yeah, we
original
still have to
schedule.
finish Diego's adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Athenian Tales, where we're
have to
being
finish that.
exploring a dungeon where we may be releasing an elder evil back into the world.
That will be fun.
Most probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Knowing us,
see you guys.
yeah. Yeah.
We are gonna
Yes.
end this.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
But Tracy is waving. You don't see it, but she's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.